Hello everybody, my name's Benny Smith. Welcome to the Complete Commander. Tonight we're going to be brewing up a deck. So welcome everybody, and hope you've been doing well, hope you've been happy and healthy. Hey, good evening, Jorman777, welcome. Welcome, how's it going? So today's deck I'm calling the MARDU Experience. So recently had an idea. Good deal. I'm glad everyone's doing good there with you, Jorman. So idea that I had was I was looking at Kelsien the Plague from Commander 2020, and it's our first new experience counter commander, and it occurred to me that with 3 colors, since it's the MARDU combination, that we could actually pull in a couple of the other experience commanders. So the color combination allows Daxos the Returned and Kalemne, Disciple of Iroas, to join in the fun. And I actually think that that's kind of cool. Hang on a second. I think what's kind of neat about that is Kalemne also gets larger with the experience counters, and Daxos makes creatures that get larger with experience counters. So what I thought was kind of cool is that we can make a Kelsien the Plague deck, which kind of focuses on that as the commander, but also look for ways where we can look for some synergies for Daxos the Return and Kalemne, Disciple of Iroas. And I thought that would be kind of fun. So I've already kind of sketched up a basic list here, just sort of a starting point so that we don't have to waste time going on that. Got some of the usual suspects: Soul Ring, Shadow Spear, Soul God Lantern, Skull Clamp. And then since it's a non-green deck, I've got like Wayfarer's Bauble, a bunch of Signets, Solemn Simulacrum. So somebody on Twitter earlier today mentioned Archetype of Finality being a great inclusion into this deck. So it's a 6-drop enchantment, so it triggers off of Kalemne and Daxos. And it also makes Kelsien have Death Touch, so it's super easy for Kelsien to tap and kill something. So like Archetype of Finality I thought was kind of a slam dunk inclusion here, so I've gone ahead and added that in there. But I thought it would be kind of cool to sort of focus on enchantments and maybe higher cost creatures, maybe lower, have most of our spells kind of sit lower in the mana curve, and then fill up our upper curve with higher cost creatures that would trigger experience if Kalemne is out there. So and I'm not usually one for tutors, to run too many tutors in the deck, but I thought it might be useful to have a couple tutors in this deck just to kind of go fetch up the either Daxos or Kalemne, if we're looking for some other ways to sort of take advantage of the experience. So Jorman was asking, what sort of enchantments would you otherwise be looking at? So outside of the enchantment creatures, I was just thinking of some enchantments that provide some utility, maybe things like Seal of Cleansing. I was also thinking of some auras that might help protect, like Kelsien, or just general kind of utility enchantments is sort of what I was thinking. Phyrexian Reclamation. In fact, let's go ahead and put that on here. Phyrexian Reclamation. Seal of Cleansing. Don't think I'd really want Oblivion Ring, just because, I mean, people run enchantment removal, so they would, you know, they could hit that and get their permanent back. Yeah, Phyrexian Arena for card draw, that's a great choice. Phyrexian Arena. We can start kind of searching for that stuff in a minute. Let's go ahead and maybe add in some of these enchantment creatures. I think I like Celestial Archon, Doomwake Giant, and Gravebreaker Lamia at 5. I think those are all pretty good. Celestial Archon, Doomwake Giant, Gravebreaker Lamia. So Gravebreaker Lamia, I guess we might want to keep an eye on some sort of card that we want in our deck that can come back from the graveyard, so we could kind of go back and we could use Gravebreaker Lamia to go fetch that up. Higher up the mana cost, I guess Athrea's Shroud Veiled actually works out kind of nice, I think, with Kelsien, right? So I think that might be good. I mean, and it's a creature spell on the stack, so it's going to trigger Kalemne, right? So I think Athrea's is probably a pretty good choice. Athrea's Shroud Veiled. The original Athrea's, yeah, definitely. It seems like that would be a good choice too. Let's see, Athrea's. Athrea's. All right. So, yeah. I mean, in my experience, 3 mana is a little crowded, but I think in the MARDU color combination, it's probably not as crowded as like green decks would be. So I think that probably that should. I mean, it's going to give us. It'll trigger Daxos and give us some measure of recursion. So yeah, why not? Let's do it. Not sure about Dream Shaper Shaman. I think it's an interesting card, but I'm not entirely sure about that one. So what do you, Jorman says throw it on, nix it later if it doesn't work. What do you, which one are you referring to? Okay, the original Athrea's. Yeah, I got it in here. I think it's fine. I think it's a good call. Good call. So for my query here, I was just basically looking for creatures that satisfied both of our other legends for experience. So Jormon is recommending Dream Shaper. I'm not even sure what that is. Dream Shaper. Oh, the Dream Shaper Shaman. Gotcha. That's true. You can sacrifice a creature, and then maybe they'll give it back to you with Athreos. Okay. All right. Let's put it in there and see how it goes. Dream Shaper Shaman. Okay. Alright, so I guess maybe let's start looking for some other enchantment creatures that might be worth playing, just as some creatures. I mean, that'd give us creatures that we can just use for general purposes, and also Athreos triggers. Let's see. So Jormon's thinking of some auras to buff Kelsien so that his ping is higher. Well, his ping is just 1 damage regardless, so probably what we would want is to look for some death touch type stuff. Do you just you mean maybe just his power? I mean, he's got vigilance and haste, so like we'll probably want to attack with him if we can. So yeah, definitely look for some ways to boost him up. So yeah, let's take a search for maybe some auras. Let's do some digging in here. I know there's going to be a lot of crap. Kaya's Ghost form, that seems like a no-brainer. That's a really good one. Probably some of the auras that come back to your hand if they go to the graveyard from play, like Brilliant Halo, might not be a bad thing. Right? You can kind of put it on out there and count on it coming back. And if it comes back to your hand and then you've drawn Daxos, then you've got a little bit of a combo going there. Speaking of auras, did you hear some of the rumors about maybe Rancor making a return? Maro apparently said something about 2 auras that might be reprinted, that either one of them sounds like it could potentially be a Rancor. That would be crazy, wouldn't it, in Standard? Ooh, how about Dead Man's Chest? Since we're going to be wanting to kill creatures anyway, this might be a way to kind of get some card draw in here. So Dead Man's Chest, enchant creature an opponent controls, and when the enchanted creature dies, exile cards equal to its power from the top of its owner's library, and you may cast non-land cards from among them for as long as they remain exiled. And you can spend mana as though it were a mana of any type. So it's not like you have to cast them right away, so that's kind of cool. Glistening oil, that's an interesting thought. Could give us a little bit of an infect theme. I'm not sure if we'd want to stick it on our Kelsien. Maybe. Let's put it down. That could come in handy if we need to get a infect win in, a poison win in, maybe. We'll have to look out for maybe some large creatures that we could put it on. Streamin' and Weebin, hello, welcome to the stream. In case you're not aware, what we're doing is building a Kelsien the Plague deck, and we're bringing in Daxos the Return and Kalemne Disciple of Iroas, because both of them also deal with experience counters and they can kind of cross-pollinate. So what we're looking at are enchantments, a lot of useful enchantments, also larger creatures that can trigger off a Kalemne, and then of course just murdering creatures so that Kelsien can get experience as well. So that's kind of where we're at. So we've already got our mana fixing sort of in here already. We've got some enchantments. We've got some creature enchantments that cost 5 or more, so those trigger both Kalemne and Daxos. So anyway, I think that catches you up. Alright, so right now we're sort of looking at some auras that we can kind of put in here to just be generally useful. So far I've got Kaya's Ghost Form, Brilliant Halo, Dead Man's Chest, and Glistening Oil. Alright, so Streamin' and Weebin says they've been looking to build around Kelsien for a couple days now, so cool. Maybe you can help us build a sweet deck, and you can take some ideas away from tonight and work on yours. Spirit Loop, that was one I was looking for too. Spirit Loop. What's kind of cool about Spirit Loop is it doesn't actually give the creature lifelink. So if you have some other way to give a creature lifelink, this basically kind of doubles that. So that's kind of cool. It just has the phrase, whenever the enchanted creature deals damage, you gain that much life. And of course it comes back to your hand if the creature dies, or it otherwise gets destroyed. So definitely, I'm kind of keeping an eye out for cards like that, especially auras like that, because it's nice to have. It's nice to have sort of that trigger to kind of bring them back, especially if we have Daxos. We can bring those enchantments back to our hand to get another Daxos trigger. Alright. Gift of Immortality. That was one that was also had sort of in the back of my mind. By the way, cheers everyone. I'm having an adult beverage, some Ancient Age bourbon and ginger ale, Northern Neck ginger ale, which is delicious. What do y'all think of the impetus cards? Would that be some good removal options that are enchantments, like Martial Impetus? I think Goad is definitely a very powerful mechanic in Commander, and I think it's very disruptive to people that kind of like to sit back and just build their pillar forts. I mean, yeah, eventually someone's going to be able to kill it. So Jorman points out that once you're down to 101, they are only helping your opponent. Oh, that's true. So what's the red impetus? Have I run across that yet, or is that further down? Oh, the shiny impetus. Alright, well let's put in the shiny impetus. Getting some treasure definitely is going to help us out, since we don't have a whole lot of mana ramp, mana fixing, color fixing options, since we're not playing green. So I think that's a good call. How about Angelic Destiny? That's a good one. That boosts our commander, which also has vigilance, so it basically will turn it into a super Sarah Angel. Angelic Destiny. Plus then you can say, Kelsien, it is your destiny. Right? I mean, you always want to say that, right? Jorman says, I mean, you could. So by the way, you folks in the chat, I was wondering if I ended up moving my deck building stream to another night, which night would be good for you? I've had a few times where I've had, I've even had 0 people in the chat, which is kind of a strange thing to just sort of sit here and talk to yourself. So anyway, I'm considering moving nights to something that might be able to get a few more people in here to get a more lively chat going. Not that I don't appreciate you guys being here. I do, but I know sometimes you're not able to make it here, so I'd like to broaden the audience. Okay, Jorman says any night right now. Cool. What about you, streaming and weebing? Alright, so I think we're at the end of our aura search. Okay, yeah, I probably wouldn't do it on Thursdays. I think there's too much competition there, and probably I mean, watching live Commander is a lot of fun, so I wouldn't want to step on that. Yeah, streaming and weebing. What night during the week, other than Monday night, would be good for you? I'm thinking about changing my my night. Alright, let's change this to enchantment. Okay, Tuesday morning. So where are you? What area of the world are you streaming and weebing? Are you Australia? Maybe in Asia? South Korea, awesome. From what I understand, they seem to have the pandemic under pretty good control over there, unlike the States. So hopefully you and yours are staying healthy and happy. You know what? I just had an interesting thought. Alright. Alright, here we go. Check out this enchantment. Reconnaissance. So, if you attacked with Kelsien, the Plague, and then activated Reconnaissance for 0 to remove target attacking creature you control from combat and untap it, and then responded by tapping it to do a point of damage to a creature, and then responded to that by zeroing Reconnaissance to untap it, could you kind of keep doing that? So remove target attacking creature you control from combat and untap it. I mean, I feel like that might not work somehow or another, because if it works, that's insane. So the untap and remove. So basically the first one to resolve would negate all the other ones. Is that sort of how that works? Okay. Alright. It's probably still worth putting in here just as an extra way to get maybe an extra ping at, because you can activate this all the way until after damage is dealt. So it would just be sort of another way that you could attack with Kelsien, deal damage, tap it, and then untap it, and then tap it again. Right? Right? I thought for a second I might have broken it too. Alright. Oh well. I mean, it'd been fun to break it and then surprise people with it, but it would quickly become super obnoxious. So I'm glad that it doesn't actually work like we were worried about. Yeah, I think it's still decent, but it's not insane. So, unlike, did you hear about what was that enchantment from Ikoria, Layer of Behemoths, that breaks with greater good? Did you hear about that combo? Ominous Seas. So create a Kraken, sack it, draw 8 cards, get 8 counters. You can keep doing it. That's crazy. Alright, so Streamin' and Weebin says, was there a way to untap Maze of Ith in these colors? Okay. Maze of Ith. Okay, Maze of Ith is interesting because it doesn't remove it. So Maze of Ith could work with Reconnaissance to get even another extra counter. So yeah, I usually, cards like Maze of Ith I don't count as a land, I count it as a spell. So I'm going to put this up here at the top of my list under the 0 and 1 drop spells. Yeah, let's take, we'll do a search for some cards that might work with Maze of Ith in a little bit. Let's get back to some good utility enchantments to have in here. Here's our Phyrexian Reclamation. Soul Snare, that might be a good one. Some removal that's enchantment based. What do y'all think of Angelic Renewal? So Drummond says, I'd like to see a subset of cards that meet all 3 experience triggers, or at least 2. For example, enchantment creatures that are big enough to trigger Kalemne, or ones that kill a creature after Kelsien pings it, or just regular creatures that are big enough to trigger Kalemne and kill a creature on ETB, for example. Yeah, well, that's how we started out with, right? Those enchantment creatures. I think there's an enchantment. Isn't there an enchantment that taps and kills a creature that's been dealt damage this turn? Witch's Mist. Yeah, that seems perfect. I mean, it costs 3 mana, so that's a little pricey, but Kelsien just taps to deal a damage, so I think that fits in. Yeah. I mean, that basically just turns Kelsien into just straight up murderer. I mean, he is an assassin, right? Exactly. Exactly. So I think before I continue down the enchantment path, before we get a little crazy, why don't we look for destroy effects? I mean, I know black-white especially has a lot of ways to exile things, which is powerful, but exiling creatures is not gonna it's not gonna trigger Kelsien. So I think we're gonna probably want to maybe reserve our exile stuff for just the bare minimum. So let me look for some destroy creature options here. I I mean, one card that kind of gets around, that sort of does a pseudo exile, is Tragic Slip, right? If you need to get rid of something that's indestructible, that can help. Crackling Doom, yes. Absolutely. Crackling Doom. So good. It's so funny, when that rotated out of Standard, I had basically kind of forgotten about it. And my girlfriend started getting into Commander, and I got her a pre-con deck, and it had Crackling Doom in it, and she wrecked me with it. And I was like, wait a minute. This is actually really good in Commander. Right? Yeah, I do have Shadow Spear in here, so we can take away the indestructible. So, yeah, absolutely. All right, let's see. What do y'all think of Bounty Agent? Yeah, I've definitely, I definitely have died to the last couple points of from my Crackling Doom. All right, not too keen on Bounty Agent. All right, we'll move on. I mean, we definitely want to like terminate. Go for the throat. Is Dreadbore worth it as sorcery to be able to kill planeswalkers? Bedevil? I don't know, man. Bedevil. That's a lot of colored mana. But, I mean, we could probably handle it. You know, at 2 mana, I'd probably want to go ahead and do Despark, just because it can also exile other things, not just creatures. So I think that's probably worth it. And if we really need to exile something. Streamin' and Weebin asks, any thoughts on Heartless Act versus Go for the Throat? I'm sort of holding judgment on Heartless Act currently, because I'm curious to see if the new counters matter stuff sort of becomes popular in Commander. Because I would hate to have, you know, a creature I really need to kill, and it's got a random counter on it, and I can't do anything with it with Heartless Act. So I'm kind of a Go for the Throat. I'm still Go for the Throat. But Heartless Act, I'm willing to change my mind on, kind of based on how the metagame sort of shakes out. Path of Metal. It doesn't hurt our commander. Micah Mine, welcome. Welcome to the stream. So just to catch you up real quick, we are doing we're building a deck around the Kelsien the Plague. And we're also pulling in Daxos the Return and Kalemne, Disciple of Iroas, to kind of lean hard into the experience. So we've got enchantments in here that can trigger Daxos, and we've got Kalemne. We got big creatures to trigger Kalemne, and of course we've got quite a few large enchantment creatures. So basically, that's sort of the brew that I thought would be fun to do. So I'll just kind of scroll through the list so that you can kind of see where we're at currently. So anyway, I think when you... Alright, so Micah Mine says, very excited to get my Kelsien deck together once my C20 decks arrive. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully we can give you some ideas for it, and hopefully you can give us some ideas for this one. Right now we're looking for just destroy creature effects to help boost Kelsien's ability to generate experience. So that's sort of where we're at. We're sort of in the 2 mana section. So Micah Mayan says Kalemne and Daxos are just sitting in a box waiting for their commander. Awesome. So you're building an experience one too. That's awesome. I always thought that Daxos and Kalemne were interesting commanders, but I guess they just didn't have enough juice to really kind of pump them up to the next level. So I love that Kelsien kind of can bring them in to the fold and make use of them. So I think that's kind of neat. Alright, am I in the right section? Where am I? I've got so many tabs open. Where was I? Okay, I guess we're still in the destroy zone. Alright, so we got terminate already. And alright, so Bedevil was recommended. Alright, let's go ahead and put that in there, despite the evil mana cost. General Kudrow. So for kill effects, do we want things like Curtain's Call? Let's see, Curtain's Call. Six mana. I mean, it's effectively 5 mana, even worst case scenario. 5, 4. Ideally. Yeah, I could see putting that in there. Yeah, let's do it. Curtain's Call. Curtain's Call. So Micah Mine was saying trying to get a little bit more value out of the single target removal. I'm a big fan of single target removal because I don't necessarily like sweeping the whole battlefield if you don't really need to. But yeah, sometimes you can sort of get behind if you're spinning up cards trying to kill individual cards. So it's a good call to have something like a 2-for-1 like that. I think I'd like a Mortify in here just for some enchantment control. Of course, that reminds me, we are playing red, so we probably should go ahead and put, what's that 1-mana destroy artifacts with overload. Streaming and weebing has to go to work, so I appreciate you stopping by, and hopefully you enjoy the watching the rest of the video on demand, and let me know if you have any ideas once you check out the final deck list. So take care and have fun at work. Alright, why am I drawing a blank on the Vandal Blast? That's it. Vandal Blast. Now I realize Damnation is a very expensive card. Let's see how expensive it is these days. 31 bucks. Eesh. I am fortunate to have a Damnation, so I probably would put it in here, but alright, so German recommends Chaos Warp. Actually, I think that we don't really need Chaos Warp, right? We can handle just about any permanent. Like we've got white to handle enchantments, right? Like I think Chaos Warp and things like the Gift of Tusks or whatever that white Beast Within is, like those are good for when you are sort of weak towards certain kind of removal. But I think we're not going to have a problem assembling some removal here in this color combination. So yeah, we're definitely want Wrath of God in here. I'm going to leave Damnation off. Just if you own Damnation, obviously you would toss that in here. Yeah, and we got Kaya's Wrath too. That's a good one. Kaya's Wrath. So Micromine is recommending Tragic Arrogance and cards like it to keep Kelsien alive. Okay, I can buy that. Tragic Arrogance. Okay. Yeah, I like that. Tragic Arrogance. Yeah, because you could do stuff like attack with Kelsien, ping a big creature, and then untap it with Reconnaissance, and then ping another creature, another big creature, and then cast Tragic Arrogance, and then those creatures will die, and you'll get some experience counters. Alright, so Micah Mine also recommends Mythos of Snapdax and Single Combat. So let's take a look at those. Mythos of Snapdax. Okay. Wow, so that, I mean, that's basically Tragic Arrogance for 1 less mana, right? Yeah, let's put that in there. Mythos of Snapdax. Plus that artwork is just killer. Single Combat. Each player chooses a creature or planeswalker they control and sacrifices the rest. I'm not sure if I like giving my opponents their choice there, because it'd be kind of harder to leverage Kelsien with that. But I think between Tragic Arrogance and Mythos of Snapdax, I think we got that covered pretty nice. Excellent idea. I like that. All right, let's continue on through the destroy effects. Maybe a Cleansing Nova at 5. A little bit of technology here. Evil Eye of Urborg. Someone pointed out that that's a nice card to have in my poor brain. It's Monday. It's the Jun Spider that makes everybody attack. Evil Eye of Urborg means that your non-creatures can attack. Your non-eye creatures. So Evil Eye gets to attack, and then if anybody happens to block it, you just destroy that creature before damage is dealt. So that's kind of a sweet little bit of technology someone turned me on to. And I'm happy to pass it on to you. One thing I'd like to look for are some 5 mana or higher creatures that kill creatures, because that would trigger, that could trigger 2 of our experience guys, right? Kalemne and our commander. So it's so funny. Non-black is such a drawback these days. Like, there's just so many multicolored creatures that just doesn't hit anymore. But Noxious Gearhulk does. Noxious Gearhulk. Sunblast Angel. That seems like a good one. Though actually it's a little awkward now that I think about it, because you know, if you want to ping a creature to get a experience counter, then your commander will be tapped, and then awkwardly will die to your Sunblast Angel. So maybe not Sunblast Angel. Alright, it's 7 mana. Highcliff Felidar looks interesting. When Highcliff Felidar enters the battlefield, for each opponent choose a creature with the greater power among creatures that player controls, and then you get to destroy those. So I've already got Ruinous Ultimatum at 7, but I think we could probably go ahead and put one more 7-drop in here. That works really nicely with our plan. Alright, do we want to play a Realm Cloaked Giant? Kalemne is a giant. That could be kind of brutal. Yeah, let's do that. Realm Cloaked Giant. And whenever you cast the cast off, you could envision the arena animation with the big hand sweeping across the battlefield. Yeah, Realm Cloak Tech. Okay. Alright, well I think we got a lot of destroy effects here. So at this point, I feel like we probably need some lower cost creatures. Oh, Micah Mine says, what's our draw package? Oh, that's true. Let's take a look. Let's look for some draw card stuff. I think all we've got currently is Phyrexian Arena and Skull Clamp. Dead Man's Chest I would count as card draw too. Aetherios I think is a little bit of a card draw. Yep, that's about it. So yeah, let's look to draw some cards. I'll look for multiple draw cards first, and then we'll just go to the draw card section and see. Well, I guess we can get both with draw card. Well, I see Arch of Araska, Bonder's Enclave, and Castle Lochthwain. I think there's some card draw that we can have in our mana base. So, Arch of Araska, Bonder's Enclave, and Castle Lochthwain is black mana source. I'll put that down there at the bottom. Alright, let's continue along. What do you think of skeletal scrying? I don't think we're going to be too hard on graveyard recursion. So skeletal scrying might be a good thing to have. Oh yeah, Painful Truths, that's a great one. Painful Truths. Tome of Legends seems good. Our commander's pretty cheap to cast, and probably a pretty good bet that we're going to be attacking with it a fair amount. Tome of Legends. Do we want Wall of Blossoms as a chump blocker? Cantrip? We don't have a lot of early creatures, so that might be a good call, right? Wall of Omens. Probably Magus of the Wheel, right? That's a good one. Magus of the Wheel. Kind of reload your hand. Mathis Fiend Seeker. At the beginning of your end step, put a bounty counter on target creature an opponent controls. For as long as that creature has a bounty counter on it, it has when this creature dies, each opponent draws a card and gains 2 life. I'm a little leery about letting my opponents draw cards from my own cards, since we've got a lot of pinpoint removal in this deck. So, not playing this might be a mistake, but I think I'm going to pass. Alright. Phyrexian Arena. Temna the Weaver. Lifelink. At the beginning of your post-combat main phase, you may pay X life, where X is the number of opponents that were dealt combat damage this turn. If you do, draw X cards. What do you think? Does Temna have a spot here? Maybe. Temna the Weaver. If you're lucky enough to own a Wheel of Fortune, that probably goes in here too. I'm not going to put it in my list. I feel like I missed something at 3 mana. Temna's $40? What? Alright, I'm cutting Temna from this list because that's obnoxiously expensive, and I don't want people coming across the deck list and thinking that this is just a pile of super expensive cards. Holy crap, I had no idea Temna was so expensive. Yeah, wait a minute. At 3 mana, I was looking for what's that enchantment creature that lets you draw a card when a creature dies and you don't lose life? Because I saw the Midnight Reaper, which makes you lose a life. So I was looking for the other one. What is that one? Grim Haruspix, that's the one. Yeah, let's put that in here. Grim Haruspix. That's a good one. I mean, the Midnight Reaper might be good too, really. I mean, just to have some bodies and some card draw. Midnight Reaper. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that too. What the heck? Life is just another resource. Alright. Drawing some cards. The Erebos gods are enchantments, and they let you draw cards. That's a hefty cost. Never been overly fond of those. Ugh. Smothering Tithe, I'm sure goes into this deck, but I just generally do not like these cards that make you go, are you going to pay that? 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 I think they're super annoying, so you won't find them in my deck list. Alright, Greven, Predator Captain. Whenever Greven attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, you can draw cards equal to that creature's power, and you lose life equal to that creature's toughness. What do y'all think? Do you think that goes in here? Do we have creatures that we're going to want to kill off? I mean, maybe. Yeah, I don't know if we have a bunch of creatures to just sort of sack off willy-nilly. Wait a minute, what about Corvath's Fury? It's kind of like that Wheel of Fortune 5-mana drop, but you can actually use it to deal some damage to people. Yeah, let's put a Corvath's Fury in here. Since we don't have any Planeswalkers, the Immortal Sun's probably a good one. So hopefully that's not $40. Okay, good. Alright. Yeah, let's put the Immortal Sun in here. Immortal Sun. Alright. Alright, well I think we've got a fair number of card draw in here, so one thing I was thinking about too is some proliferate stuff. Since we can proliferate experience counters. So maybe like Karn's Bastion. That might be a special land to add to the mix. Karn's Bastion. Grateful Apparition and Martyr for the Cause. Can give us some early drop creatures. Grateful Apparition, Martyr for the Cause, Sword of Truth and Justice. That's almost 18 bucks. Yawgmoth, $17. Contagion Engine proliferates and proliferates again. How are we on 6 drops? Looks like we've got a fair amount of 6 drops. So I think I'm going to stay clear of that one. Yep, I think that probably covers the proliferate angle that we would want to have. Alright, well, we have mustered up quite a list already. What I like to do now real quick is to jump over to EDH Rec and see what the general populace of deck builders have put in their Kelsien decks to see if we've missed anything that's that we want to rectify that. So General's Enforcer. Legendary humans you control have indestructible. And for 4 mana, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token. Holy smoke. That seems good. General's Enforcer. Already got the Arcane Signet. Well, looks like other people have had the same idea of Daxos and Kalemne, so that's good. I'm glad that people think that's cool. I like the idea too. Torbrand is interesting. It would let our commander ping for 3, but it costs triple red. Dare we go for that? Triple red for the Torbrand? I feel like maybe we should, right? Let's do it. Torbrand, Thane of Redfell. The victors of war go to the bold. Queen Marchesa. She's just a good card. That's some additional card draw. And it makes assassins, which can keep Kelsien company. You know, they can talk shop. Let's do it. Queen Marchesa. Alright, Basilisk Scholar is super obnoxious, right? Giving our commander Death Touch, sort of the easy way. Do you think that's too? Do you think it's too obnoxious, or should we just go for it? I mean, we're MARDU, right? Who probably don't really care what other people think of us, so let's do it. Oh, there's Crackling Doom. Retreat to Hagra. I think I saw that up here. So landfall, target creature gets +1/+0 and gains Death Touch. I don't know about that one. Gift of Doom. Enchanted creature has Death Touch and indestructible. I mean, that is an enchantment. Alright, I think I'm cool with Gift of Doom. I like that one. That's a good one. Good call. Gift of Doom. Plus, you can say, now it's time to sing the Doom song. Doom 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 da doom doom da doom 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 da doom. Oh, I didn't put Burnished Heart in here. That was a oversight. Burnished Heart. I think Mother of Runes probably deserves a spot here. Mother of Runes. I do like Sun Titan, but I think we're probably pretty heavy on the 6 drops already. Alright, Micah Mine's saying, look over my list. A really powerful card I don't see on your list is Fire Covenant. Alright. Fire Covenant. Huh. I'm not really feeling Fire Covenant. I mean, I know you can use it to sort of leverage some extra damage to a creature that you've pinged with your commander. I'm guessing that's what you're thinking about, but do you really think that's worth it? I mean, it's 3 mana investment. Am I missing something there? Some other synergy? Dockside Extortionist is probably a card you'd put in there if you owned it. So yeah, so Michael Mine's pointing out that for 3 mana you could kill 3 or 4 creatures with it. I mean, 3 or 4 smallish creatures, unless you just really want to put a whole bunch of life into it. I am still skeptical, but if you can provide me with some great Fire Covenant stories from your adventures, let me know. Heliod Sun Crown looks interesting. I mean, that would be a way to gain some life too, right? Heliod Sun Crowned. How are we doing on our curve? I feel like we don't necessarily have enough Alright. Definitely if you can beat the crap out of me with Fire Covenant, that would be awesome. I would love it. Iroas God of Victory seems interesting. It's an enchantment, so that's nice. And creatures you control have menace, which makes our commander a little easier to get in his attacks. And prevent all damage that would be dealt to attacking creatures you control. So I kind of like it. I think I like Iroas God of Victory. So Mike Mine says it's putting a Bosch in my 99. Alright, I didn't think about Obosh. So odd converted mana cost would deal damage to a permanent or player deals double that damage. I mean, our commander's just tapping for 1 damage, so doubling that seems... Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I mean, it is great with Torbrand. I mean, I built an Obosh deck for my Star City Games column, and it is gross. I don't know if you had a chance to read that one, but it is a beating. All right. Teferi's Protection, 45 bucks. Holy smoke. You know, probably want to go ahead and put a Swords to Plowshares in here, just in case you really need to make sure you can exile a creature that otherwise would keep coming back. Alright, what do you think of Red Elemental Blast or Pyroblast? I've heard some people talk about some stuff from that Joey from EDH Rec has done some crazy stuff with main deck Pyroblast in his commander decks. Crush Contraband is another good one that we probably want in our deck. Crush Contraband. Alright, well, we're getting towards the downhill side of our time together, so I probably should go ahead and upload this. Just do a quick scan through here. Haha, Embercleave. All right. Alright, so let's go ahead and load this into a deck database and see where we are. So tonight I'm using Moxfield. Let's see what that looks like. Why is everything in the sideboard? What did I do wrong here? Bulk edit. Oh, save. Okay. Alright, so I've got 74 cards. And I generally like to run 39 lands. Oop, let me clear this. So 74 plus 39. So I've got 13 too many cards. Let's take a look at our mana curve. Alright, so at 7 mana, we've got Realm Cloak Giant, Highcliff Felidar, Ruinous Ultimatum. Alright, so I think I'm going to go ahead and cut Highcliff Felidar from the list. So 1... at 6 mana. Aetherios, Noxious Gearhulk, Curtain's Call, and the Mortal Sun. Alright, I think I'm going to cut Curtain's Call here. I know that's technically a 5 mana spell, but, or 5 or 4, or even a 4 mana spell, but well, maybe let's get rid of Dream Shaper Shaman. Let's remove that one. Alright, 5 mana. I think I like all the 5 mana cards. Let's take a look at the 4 mana cards. I mean, we got Kaya's Wrath and Torbrand in our deck. I feel like Torbrand is just getting too greedy, so I'm going to remove Torbrand. Alright. 3 mana. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and cut Bedevil. And I'm going to get rid of Shiny Impetus. I want all these creatures, so now let's go to 2 mana. Seal of Cleansing. Alright, I'm going to get rid of glistening oil. And I think Brilliant Halo is kind of weak sauce. Alright, 1 mana. Skeleton Scrying, Tragic Slip, Soul Ring. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of Basilisk Collar. I feel like if we get a Basilisk Collar out there, our opponents will basically turn into playing Arch Enemy, right? Because they're not going to be able to let us keep our commander on the board, because we'll just start killing off all their creatures. So I think I'm just going to get rid of that one. And I think I'll get rid of Soul Snare. Alright, down to 65 non-land cards. So we still got 4 more to cut. Alright, let's go back up to the top of the curve. I like both of those. We'll keep those. Alright. Alright, yep, I'm going to have to cut, make some hard cuts here, so I'm going to cut Curtain's Call. Let's go to 5. You know, in the course of building our deck, we didn't really come into any sort of graveyard recursion stuff going on, so I think Gravebreaker Lamia is not going to be all that great, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that one too. And Cleansing Nova is probably excessive too, right? I mean, I have a way of mass destroying artifacts already. Plus Tragic Arrogance handles that kind of stuff too, and the Snapdax thing, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Cleansing Nova. Alright, so I've got one more cut. Alright, I think all 4 mana cards look good, look very good. Alright, let's go to 2 mana. One mana. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and cut Skeletal Scrying too. Okay. Alright. Alright, so let's take a look and see if there's some more lands that we might want in this deck. I've already got like some fetches in here. We've got Command Tower, Nomad Outpost, Path of Ancestry. So I've got a lot of sort of the obvious colored mana stuff in here. So, but let me just kind of do a scan through here and see if there's anything that I'm missing. So there's a website I like to use called Mana Base Crafter. They're sort of slower to update newer sets into here, so be careful when using this. I mean, they get around to it eventually, but I'm guessing this is just a labor of love for someone, so it's probably lower on their priority list. I wasn't originally going to add too many of these in here, but I think we've got enough color like color intensive spells that maybe we do want these. Fetid, Heath, Greven, Cairns, and Rugged Prairie. I've already got the check lands, which are great. There's Luxury Suite. It's a good one. So I think I'm going to try to keep the colorless mana sources pretty minimal, since we do have a very color intensive deck, and I'm probably going to want a fair number of basic lands in here. So might make an exception for Vault of the Archangel, though. Vault of the Archangel. Canyon Slope. Slough. Canyon Slough. And I'll probably add a Dust Bowl. Being able to nuke problem land sometimes is very useful. I usually try to add a few more land destructive lands, but I think we're a little tight on space. So, alright. Alright, so let's add these lands to the list and see where we're at. And then we'll know how many basics we want to add to here. Bulk edit. Castle Lochthwain. Did I misspell that? Castle. Okay. Alright, so 26 lands, so I need to add 13. Alright, so my Pips mix is mostly Orzhov with a little bit of red tossed in, so 13 lands will do. We'll do 2 mountain and 5 swamp and 6 plains. Let's see how that works out. Alright, so we got too many mountains. Though, we're going to want to be able to cast our commander on time, so I'm a little leery about dropping the mountain count. Let's see. 6 plains, 5 swamps. I mean, I do have a couple of extra dual lands that provide the black and the red, so maybe I can get away with trimming them. Let's remove a mountain and remove a swamp, and we'll add a plains and another plains. Alright, so 38%, 36%, and 28%. Okay. Alright, I think that works out. Looks like we're missing a card from the main deck. And I don't want to... I'm guessing it's something that I misspelled when I uploaded it, and unfortunately it doesn't tell me what card didn't upload. So I think what I want to do is just put in a card that I realized I forgot that I always added into creature-centric decks, and that's Blackblade Reforged. Because Blackblade Reforged is awesome. Alright, so I think we're done. We got 100 cards. We've got a great mana curve here. Pretty good selection of permanents, which is cool. We've got removal, we've got card draw, we've got some cool synergies between our commander and some of the other experienced creatures. Got some proliferate to ramp up our experience. So anyway, I think we got a deck here. So hope you guys enjoyed the stream. And Mike of Mine asked, will you be posting a link to this list somewhere? I will. I'll have it, if you go to Moxfield and look for Blair Witch Green, it'll be listed under the decks there. I will also, when I upload this to my YouTube video, I'll put a link to the deck list in the comments there. I don't think I can add a link to the video on demand, but anyway, yeah, just keep an eye out for the video on YouTube. And that'll do it. I appreciate everyone coming out to help out, and keep an eye out for maybe a new night when I'll be streaming later in the week. So anyway, everybody have a great time. Oh, let me make sure I put up my basically, you can find me on Star City Games, writing every week about Commander. You can also find me on Twitter at Blair Witch Green, and I have discussions about Twitter all the time and have polls. And also, you can find me on YouTube as The Complete Commander, and if you want to go to my LinkTree, I've got some other links there too, in case you're interested. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care.